back. Football Friday. Love it. Love it. Tone DeShields, Rob Ellis hanging out with you, getting you set for the Eagles and the 49ers. All right, Tone. So a couple other things to look at here. I'm going to start with this one. This is an intangible. All right, we'll get into the tangible stuff. We've talked about emotions a lot. We've talked about all the talking that the 49ers have done all week and the fact that the Eagles have taken the high road, which I think has been smart.
Right.
But just because they're not saying anything publicly doesn't mean they're not feeling it inside. And so I'm asking you this for both teams. The 49ers have worn it on their sleeve where the Eagles haven't. But we all know that for both of these teams, especially the Niners, this game was circled as soon as the schedules came out. All right. They've been looking at this thing since that the schedule came out and with the way last year ended. How concerning is it really from either side for you that your emotions run too high and you get outside of yourself a little bit? You make mistakes. You're not paying attention to detail, maybe the way that you would, and you're just looking to stick it to some guy or show some guy up. We know how it is. We've all been there playing sports. So how do you view that aspect of this game?
That's a good question because no one's above it. Some people just handle it differently, right? So one person on the Eagles side that if I had any concerns about as far as their emotions, and again, everyone shows it differently, everyone handles it differently. Just because that person isn't showing you on camera doesn't mean it's not burning them up inside. I don't want James Bradberry to feel like he has to prove something to Deebo Samuel.
Right.
He needs to do it. And again, Bradberry has shown that he is a professional and he does his job to the best of his ability. And he focuses on his technique, his own work ethic, and everything that's required of him on game day. He doesn't play emotionally, right? Yeah. But still, this has been the narrative all year and all offseason about how Deebo called him trash and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, he even doubled down on it. Again, I don't expect James Bradberry to get out of character. I don't expect it. But also, I think it's something that deserves to have a light shine on it yet still. I want James Bradberry to play his game. Right. Don't feel like you need to go out there and prove something. Don't take too many risks out there because you feel like you need to prove that you're not trash. Right. At the end of the day, the answer will be given to us all by the end of the game, and it's a team effort out there. No need for you to think that you have to be the one to stop Deebo. Play your game, play smart football. And you should come out on the right side of things. On the 49ers side, same thing goes for Deebo Samuel. He is a guy who, and look, AJ Brown says, I know Deebo. He's like a big kid. He's trolling, all that kind of stuff. He's having fun with it, whatever. But my thing is, I don't know.
I don't think he's trolling, by the way.
Part of it, I'm not buying that.
Not buying it a little bit.
I'm not buying that. He really has. It's not like James Bradberry. He doesn't know James Bradberry personally. Like they never had any issues. So even Bradberry taking a straight like that was kind of random. So I don't know. A guy like Deebo Samuel, he can't allow his emotions to get the better of him in this game as well because he wants to prove something too that they would have won that game handily, right? So will he rely on his technique? Will he stay true to the fundamentals? We'll find out.
I'll tell you, I'll be honest with you. The guy I worry about least, I think Bradberry is a really chill pro who will take it in stride. Like, I don't think he's going to be outside of himself, Like, I think Deebo might be the one to try to do something to just justify, to back up his words, if you will, much more than Slay would. So I'm kind of glad he's the one he chose to go after because Bradberry's perfect, man, in terms of that mindset. He's Slay is a reactive kind of dude. I'd worry about it a little bit more if he went after Slay with Slay trying to do something, but I think Bradberry's going to be fine. But I do wonder just generally with the Niners feeling like they have so much to prove here in this game and having to back up all the smack. It's one thing that, look, it's easy to talk in December and January and February and March. Now it's real. I'm talking last December. Now that it's crazy. We're in December already, but, there's a lot. The other thing, Tone, there's a lot riding on this game.
Absolutely.
So think about this. The Eagles are 10-1. Dallas is 9-3. San Fran and Detroit are 8-3. If the Niners win, Then all of a sudden, the Eagles, 10-2. They play the Cowboys, who haven't lost in 14 games, at their place next week. Cowboys win that. Niners keep winning. Like, this thing gets flipped on its ear really, really quickly in 2 weeks' time. This has been a monster game, not only for all the talk that's been done, but from a seeding standpoint. Everything's on the line here in this game. It's huge.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking at it like this, right? Although the Eagles can't really afford to slip, the fact of the matter is when you look at the Dallas Cowboys and the 49ers remaining schedules, they have 3 losses. Eagles have 1 right now.
Yeah.
The more, in my opinion, the more the pressure is on them because they have to find a way to win out. They have to find a way to make sure they can close the distance. The Philadelphia Eagles, they have technically the most room for error, and their final 3-leg stretch should be a piece of cake. Now, here's the thing. Dallas, they have Eagles, Bills, Dolphins, Lions, Commanders. Do you really think they're going to win out? I don't.
Win out? No. No.
And San Francisco, they have Eagles, Seahawks, Cardinals, Ravens, Commanders, Rams. Their 2 hardest games on the schedule is going to be Eagles and Ravens.
Eagles and Ravens, yeah.
And I think the Ravens are a really, really good football team. So the fact of the matter is the 49ers need this game, period. They need this game. And Dallas Cowboys, they need next week's game. But irregardless, though, the Philadelphia Eagles are in the better position numerically. And let's just play hypotheticals, right? Let's say the Philadelphia Eagles lose to the Niners and they lose to the Cowboys, right? Let's just say that happens, but they beat Seattle, they beat the Giants twice, and they beat the Cardinals. So that would put the Eagles at what, 14-3?
Yes.
Let's say the Cowboys,
they have to win out. I mean, they wouldn't have to win out. They will have split with the Eagles. Are you assuming a loss to the Eagles, right?
Right,
They beat the Eagles, right?
Right, exactly. So, but again, Bills, Dolphins, Lions, Commanders. That's 3-game stretch. Do you think they're going to? I don't think they're going undefeated in that stretch. I just don't.
Right.
So, if we already got the Eagles locked in at 14-3, even with the 2 losses to the Commanders, to the Niners and the Cowboys, if the Cowboys lose 1 game, that's it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the Cowboys literally have to win out. Even if the Eagles lose these next 2 games, the Cowboys have to win out. That's not going to happen, in my opinion. I just don't think so. Same thing goes for San Fran. Even if the Eagles lose 2 games to the Cowboys or the Niners still have to win out. They have a better chance of doing so than the Cowboys, but I don't think it'll happen. I think what's going to end up happening, I think the Eagles end the season 14-3. I think the Niners end the season 13-4. And I think the Cowboys end the season 12-5. 12-5.
Okay.
That's how I think it's going to get laid out, if I'm being honest.
Okay. Look, I hope you're right. There's no doubt about that. I hope you're right. If that's the case. All right. So let's hit a couple things also. Looking at that's interesting. Both teams, same scoring average. They're right there, tied for third. 28.2 is the scoring average. So I don't see much difference there in terms of how they get there. The Eagles have to just be a little bit more, I think, complete would be the best word.
Right.
Niners have been better defensively. Niners are better at taking the ball away. Tone, they're second in the NFL, actually tied for second in the NFL in takeaways. They've only allowed 2. I thought this was interesting. They've allowed the 4th fewest sacks. They've only given up 21. But like we talked about, that's got to change. There has got to be. I think there's got to be a minimum 3 sacks from the Birds this week. If they really want to combat this offense that the Niners roll out there, that's what they're going to have to do and get home. But they still have a lot of good players. Trent Williams at 35 can still play at a really, really high level, and that's something to watch for. Eagles have to get off the field on 3rd down, which has been maybe their biggest issue the entire season defensively. That's got to be the biggest thing. And Daz is right. You can't have turnovers. You can't have turnovers. They again lost the takeaway giveaway last week and won a game. that's another trend that will stop soon.
Yeah, that's
take your pick of any of those. I know I'm throwing a lot at you, but take your pick.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong in any capacity in any of those things you mentioned. That's the thing, right? Although the Eagles have been winning, you can still look at them and say there is a handful of things that we probably should clean up. Starting early, getting better on third down defensively. They've handled the red zone issues, which I'm really happy about. There was a point where they were at the bottom 5 of the team, bottom 5 of the league. Now they're top 10 now in the league, or close to top 5, if I'm not mistaken. So, like the fact of the matter is, they have a lot of things. As a matter of fact, the Eagles are now ranked 5th in the NFL in red zone efficiency. Miami's 1, Buffalo's 2, Baltimore's 3, the Chargers are 4, which is crazy. They suck, but when they get in the red zone, they score, and the Eagles are 5, San Fran is 6. So both of these teams, when they get the opportunities in the red zone, they typically get that thing in there. You know, the Niners, they're playing sharp football. They're good on good. That's just a fact. I mean, you know, we've been talking about this all week, right? And you know, we talked about this prior to the show, how you know, we're attempting to find every angle, every spin in this thing. But the fact of the matter is, both of these teams are great. Both of these teams are at the top of their class.
There isn't a distinct advantage collectively,
advantage.
right? Yeah, I know it is. It's one of those games.
Right.
It's generally when you have talent that is this close, turnovers is almost always the predictor of how
turnovers. And another thing, you know, me and Cilio was talking about this yesterday, and you know, his premise was the Eagles are missing some key guys in key spots on defense, and they already were vulnerable in those spots on defense, particularly linebacker, right? You're missing Zach Cunningham. That's going to hurt you tremendously. Missing Fletcher Cox. I mean, you still have Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis, don't get it twisted, but Fletcher Cox, he plays about 65-70% of the snaps for you regularly. So you're going to miss him if he doesn't play.
Big time.
Your pass defense is shaky, and on top of that, you're battling against fatigue. You've played, I want to say, you played about 165 snaps in a matter of 2 games. If you really
they're on 10 days rest too.
Yeah. And the Niners are well rested. They have a full gas tank. You know, that's been Cilio's narrative. So he has a hard time finding the angle that the Philadelphia Eagles can win this game, not because of talent, but because they had those guys have more gas in the tank. And about time third quarter, fourth quarter comes, can you outlast them? That's his premise. And that's not a far-fetched thing to even consider, right? The fact that the Eagles are running on 8. You know, you played north of 160 snaps in a 3-game span. That's going to be tough. That's going to be tough to bounce back from when you're going up against a team that's well rested and they're as high powered as they are.
Yeah.
But again, my mindset was this: at the end of the day, I don't care about that. You know, even though I laid all that out, I don't care about it. You know why?
Hear you.
Because I think the Philadelphia Eagles, they're built for these kind of moments, and they've defied the odds time and time again throughout the season. So although what Cilio explained, it makes perfect sense and it's very logical, I think this is one of those games where logic, it's a part of it, but it's not the end all be all for me.
Right. I got you.
So, you know, I mean, again, nothing wrong. He didn't say anything wrong. It was the fact of the matter is, like, you know, Eagles fans, they don't want to hear that.
Right. No,
we don't want to hear that stuff. So I think I think the Eagles win the game. He thinks they'll lose the game for that reason alone, not because of talent, because he doesn't think that when the game is over, he's not gonna have a different opinion of the Eagles, right? Because
I got you.
You're missing guys and you're tired. So you know, again, we'll see how it turns out. But I think they win the game in spite of all that he mentioned.
All right. So a good question here. Can Ertz say no to the Ravens, or is he forced to sign with them? Well, if the Ravens claim him on waivers and they get a chance, they get a shot at him before the Eagles do, because the Eagles have a better record than the Ravens. He is property of the Ravens, if that's the case. If he goes through waivers and clears, he can go wherever he wants. He's not property of anybody. So it's his choice after that. So that I hope that clears that up. So he's got to get through waivers first. Then it's up for grabs wherever.
Exactly. And look, he's going to go to the he's going to go to the place that gives him the best opportunity to succeed and perform. And the fact of the matter is that place is the Ravens or Baltimore. That gives him prime real estate to be able to showcase what he has
Probably
left.
the whole year too.
The
Like
whole
with the
year.
Eagles, Goddard's back in a week or so, right?
Right. Now it depends on how he sees himself, right? Does he have the self-awareness to say, man, I can't play 60 plus snaps anymore, 65 snaps anymore, right? I need to be in a situation where I'm the second guy. I can get my opportunities. I can get at least maybe 3, 4, maybe 5 targets in a game, or is he going to go somewhere that offers him the biggest, the biggest bank? But at this point in the season, teams are spending big money. They're just if you're trying to go to a contender, they say, listen, this we're willing to offer you. We would love to have you. Take it or leave it. So again, it's all about how he sees himself in his career right now.
Yeah.
Can he
and he may just be so in love with the notion of going back to the Eagles, he may say, hey man, I love it there, blah blah blah.
Things didn't really end well with him and Howie though.
No, I know. I'm just saying. I maybe that factors in. Who knows? You take another shot at winning one here, but yeah, I got you. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Deshaun Jackson's meeting with the media today, Tone, as he's retiring as an Eagle officially, and then he'll be a team captain or honorary captain, excuse me, on Sunday. He said, and not surprising, his favorite play as an Eagle was the 2010 punt return against the Giants.
Of course.
How can it be, right?
How can it not be? Legendary.
That is one of those games, even though the Eagles did not go on some deep playoff run that year. That's a regular season game that you remember forever.
The rest of your life.
Right? I mean, that's one of them. I'm hoping this. I think last week's game isn't getting its just due. And I hope this week's game
it's still fresh.
Yeah.
So I think as Jalen Hurts' legend grows, I think that's going to be a game we look back to and say that was the one that catapulted him to this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah.
You know what it could? I mean, look, a huge game Sunday by him or a huge game by, say, McCaffrey, hopefully not, could go a long way for MVP too.
Mm-hmm.
It could go. I mean, Dak, whatever, however you feel about him, had another big game last night in terms of numbers
against a good team. Against a good
team, prime time, the only game on that night. That stuff helps. And by the way, you and I later are going to be going through our top 5 power rankings MVP, who we think is the leader in the clubhouse right now. But those kind of games, they're signature games. This is a signature game. Not that I believe me, I don't think Jalen's even thinking about it a little bit. I don't think McCaffrey's thinking about it, but we're thinking about it and we talk about that stuff. So I think that goes a long, long way. I do. I really do.
Yeah, for sure. This MVP race is going to be really interesting because statistically, and obviously Dak is a game ahead of everyone. He played last night, so his stats are technically ahead of everyone's. But I don't think anyone's blowing us away statistically this year, in my opinion. I don't think anyone is having just this stellar statistical season. So I think it's going to come down to
it's usually a quarterback who's going nuts. There is, I mean,
I mean, Dak's having a great season, but we've seen him have this season before. So I'm not really, I'm not surprised, put it that way, because Dak is a good quarterback. People don't want to say that, but I think Dak is a good quarterback. If he didn't play for the Cowboys, I probably have more respect for him.
Yeah,
but he's a good quarterback. If I'm being unbiased, but I feel like for this MVP award, because no one's really blowing the doors off statistically, I think in order to win it this year, the quality of victory and the quality of opponent is going to matter. The narrative is going to matter, right? Who did you beat? I feel like this year is going to be the theme of who did you beat, and Jalen Hurts has an opportunity to have Tua on the mantle, Dak Prescott on the mantle if he gets him, especially if he gets him twice.
Yeah.
But he already has his head in the mantle because he beat him once. Has Patrick Mahomes' head on the mantle. Has Josh Allen's head on the mantle. Can he put Brock Purdy and those boys' heads on the mantle as well? Can he do that? Can he put Geno Smith's head on the mantle? Can he do? Can he find another? Can he find another way to beat Dak Prescott in Jerry World? This Jalen Hurts has. This is going to be these next 2 games are going to be his toughest games of the season. And they're going to have the highest repercussions, win or lose. So Jalen Hurts, I believe he's the if there's anybody that can handle this moment, it's Jalen Hurts. He's proven it time and time again. I have a hard time betting against a guy like that.
Yeah. I listen, I agree with you. I agree with you. All right, let me give you another one here. That's going to be a key. Linebacker without Zach Cunningham. So you're looking at Nicholas Morrow and Christian Ellis. I'm not going to lie to you. This is hugely concerning with both McCaffrey and Kittle. This is potentially maybe the game changer here in a negative way for the Birds. And what's up, Eugene, fellow Temple alum? I got you. I got you, Eugene. America's most experienced mystic. There you go. All right. But no, I agree. I think that's definitely, I think, an area that could be exploited by the Niners.
Yeah. Yeah. And I expect them to exploit it. The question is, can the Philadelphia Eagles do enough to limit the damage? Because they're going to take damage there. It's no way around that, right? Philadelphia Eagles fans, don't watch the game acting surprised. They're going to take damage there. Can they do enough to limit it? Can the pass rush get home enough? Right? Can guys play above their pay grade? It's going to come down to all those things, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, we talk all the time about stats. We talk all the time about trends and what people have done and the injury reports, all that kind of stuff. And at the end of the day, guys have to show up still. And we don't know how this thing's going to turn out. Anybody can get hurt in the game. Anything can happen. A tip ball here, a fumble there. A guy gets hit the right way, the wrong way. Anything can happen in games like this on both sides of the ball. For the Philadelphia Eagles, against the Philadelphia Eagles. For the Niners, against the Niners. Anything can happen when both teams are playing this good at this high of a level, when there's this much animus attached to the matchup. Again, we always talk about the injury reports, the fatigue, the talent, who's better than who, the stats, third down efficiency, red zone efficiency, pass defense. Who's going to show up that day? Who's going to wake up on the right side of the bed that day? That's what it all comes down to.
Yeah, and who's capable of stepping up, next man up? And how big can Christian Ellis be in coverage? How big can Nicholas Morrow be? How much safety help are you going to get? How much corner help? I mean, having Roby back, how big is that in the slot? We saw it help them last week, and the week before. So getting some of these younger or other guys who were out for a while back have got to help. But yeah, it's going to be very real, man. In the middle of the field is going to be a place to keep your eye on here. And I think the Niners are going to try to exploit that.
And Eagle fans again, and I'm one of them. Let's not be surprised when we're watching this game when we're seeing Christian Ellis get worked. Let's not pretend like it's going to be a shocker. Let's not get mad at this man as if he's supposed to be. Listen, they're going to get feasted on down there.
They're going to get theirs, I think, in that area.
They're going to get theirs. But can they limit the damage? Can the Eagles step up in the red zone and limit the points? Can they hold them to field goals rather than allow them to get touchdowns? It's again so many variables going to these games, you guys. So let's just go into it knowing what to expect, but also hoping for the best and expecting for the best as well. Because again, I'll say it again. I don't want Eagles fans to ever get me mixed up.
Well said.
They're winning this game.
All right. Well said. All right. So we'll come back. We're going to look at the Niners, what they've done thus far. They're 8-3, but we'll look at the wins, the losses, the quality of competition and some of the wins, some of the things that Purdy does well, some of the things he doesn't do well, what you're going to have to watch out for a little bit deeper when we come back. I'll give you an update in a little bit, Tone, about Joel Embiid and whether or not he was at shoot-around today. They play the Celtics tonight. Big game for the Sixers tonight, and Joel's health, obviously, is massive as far as that game goes. So we'll dig into all of that when we get back. Don't go anywhere. That's Tone DeShields. I'm Rob Ellis. We're Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Time to tell you about Jim Murray and Principal Financial Group. Look, it took me a long time to find the right person to trust with my finances, and I don't want it to take you as long as it took me, okay? I can tell you from personal experience that someone that I trust with my finances is Jim Murray and Principal Financial Group. Whether it's retirement planning, 401k review, insurance review, you might be starting a business of your own and you're trying to figure out how to get your employee benefits off the ground and everything that goes into that. That's another resource that Jim can help you with. I've personally entrusted my IRA, my 401k rollover with Jim, and I couldn't be any happier. You will be too. Trust me. 215, or actually, you can give me a call, 610-996-4751, 610-996-4751, or you could email him, Murray, Murray, .jim@principal.com. That's Murray.jim at